Hey everybody, Shaun Stevenson here, author of the Throne series, and today we are talking all about Old School April! Woo! I'm so excited Old School April is finally here because there's so much to do and so many things to talk about, and I can't wait. Yes, it is no joke. I am going to be on the Scoobies team for Old School April, and yes, this is going to be so exciting. I can't wait. So I am on the Scoobies team. Old School April is in the month of April. It's a like I said, a readathon, watchathon, activity-a-thon, so many fun things to do. And you choose your team. So this year it's who you're going to call. And of course, I'm going to call the Scooby-Doo gang because Scooby-Doo is where it's at, y'all. I just got to say, Scooby-Doo is where it's at. And so I am so excited for Old School April. I have been waiting for this day since the end of April 2024. And here we are again, April 2025, ready to go with my Scooby-Doo costume. That's right. So it even has a little tag. It's very exciting. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool. So I am super excited to get into my Old School April TBR. I never make TBRs because, as you know, I'm a very big mood reader. So I just kind of grab stuff off the shelf. I look around my library and decide, ooh, that sounds good. Let's go for it. So I have got a huge TBR that I will probably not get to, but you might as well go for it. So let me go get the book cart. Scooby-Doo! All right, I'm back. Let's go through this TBR cart that I have here. I've got a lot of fun things that I've got going on, so we'll see what happens. All right, let me get a little closer here. All right, so first up, I've got a picture book. These are all like a possibility pile is how I like to think about it because I am just such a mood reader. I might grab other things at some point and put these on, but these are the ones I'm going to try and get to. So first things first, I've got here a picture book, which is called Grundo Springtime Sing Time from the World of Teddy Ruxpin. So there's all these different prompts in Old School April, and you get points for each prompt for your team. And it's not super serious, but you can find all the links to everything down below in the description. But one of the prompts was about a picture book, and there's other nostalgic prompts here because Teddy Ruxpin from the 80s, so great. So this one is a picture book of Teddy and Grubby and all their springtime songs, which I thought was perfect for spring. So we'll see if we can get to this one. And then there is this book series that I've been wanting to get to, and it is called Extreme Zone Night Terror, book number 1. So I've really wanted to get to this book series and kind of see what is this series about? It's actually a YA series, which is a little different for me, but I'm excited to try it out and see what happens in this. It's like kind of a sci-fi sort of thing. And speaking of sci-fi, I also wanted to read another Star Trek Deep Space Nine book. This one is book number 2, Stowaways. And it's a wintry kind of book, but that's okay. I'm going to go for it. I actually already put my bookmark in here so I could start it sometime soon here, because I really want to read another one of these. The first one I read, The Star Ghost, was such a good book. This is a middle grade series based on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the show. And this series is so fun so far. The first book actually blew me away. It was way better than I thought it was going to be. And so I am super excited to read this one and see what happens. And then this one, my wife actually picked this one up for me, and it is a book from Shadow Mountain, which is one of my favorite publishers. And this is called Grim World, The Witch in the Woods by Michael Brent Collins. And he actually signed this one. And my wife got it signed for me, and he said, Shaun, show up yourself next time. Because my wife was getting it signed for me instead of me being there, but that's okay. So this one I'm super excited to read. It's like a fantasy type story, a little bit of a longer book. So, that's always great for Old School April to throw something in there that's a little longer, but a fantasy series from Shadow Mountain. This is the publisher who puts out Brandon Mole's Fablehaven series and Dragon Watch and Frank L. Cole's books, which I love all of those. So I'm excited to try another author from Shadow Mountain and see what I think about it. And then, of course, I have to get to another Berenstein Bears book. So I chose the Berenstein Bears in Maniac Mansion by Stan and Jan Berenstein. So this one is like a spooky one from the Berenstein Bears, and I'm super intrigued to read it. Now, I'm pretty sure I read this when I was a kid. I can't totally remember, but I'm pretty positive that I read it a long time ago. So we'll have to see if it holds up. Sometimes Berenstain Bear books are a little iffy. If you've looked at any of my other videos on Berenstain Bear books on the channel, you will know that sometimes they're a little strange. So we'll find out what happens in this one. And then one of the prompts for Old School April is actually about reading a nostalgic magazine. So I decided it's time to read my Disney Adventures magazine. Disney Adventures was a magazine that came out in the 90s, and it has all the different characters from the Disney afternoon, which is super nostalgic. So you have like Tailspin and DuckTales and Gummy Bears and Rescue Rangers and all those different characters. And so this is a magazine that has comics in it, but then it also has some little articles and things as well. So I'm super excited to read this and just kind of have fun flipping through it and being, back in the Disney afternoon. I used to watch the Disney afternoon every day after school like clockwork. I loved it so much. It was like the 90s for me. Disney afternoon in the afternoon, right after school, perfect. And then another sci-fi series I've been meaning to get to, I guess we're going to do a little bit of sci-fi this month, is Mind Warp: Alien Terror by Chris Archer. This is book number 1, and it has that like shiny cover there. It's so cool. So I want to read this one. It looks really interesting. This one is, like I said, a sci-fi book, but it's kind of like about UFOs, alien abductions, stuff like that. And it's a whole series of books. I believe there's 8 books total in the series, and this is book number 1. And then another sci-fi book I've been wanting to read is the first book in the Outer Limits series by John Peel. He's like the prince of 1990s like books. He wrote so many middle grade books in the 1990s, everything from like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego to The Outer Limits to Diadem to so many different series. And sometimes he would jump in on different book series and write an entry. So this one is a series he did write, The Outer Limits, and this one is the Zanti Misfits. So no idea what it's about. Sci-fi. It's based on a TV show that came out back a long time ago called The Outer Limits. So that's definitely going to have all the nostalgia vibes. Plus, there's a prompt about yellow on the cover. And I thought, well, yellow on the cover. Here we go. I guess I should be pointing with Scooby's fingers. Yellow on the cover. Here we go. And then I read one of the books in this series, and I wanted to read the first one because book 5 that I read had a lot of spoilers for earlier books. And I thought, oh, this is a series you actually have to read in order. So I'm going to read Danny Orlis, The Final Touchdown, which I know football's like a fall thing and a winter thing, but I decided I'm going to just go ahead and read this one. It's like a mystery series. It's kind of Hardy Boys-ish about this character named Danny Orlis. And this is book number 1 by Bernard Palmer. So I want to read this one for sure. And then I have read the first book of this series, and it's another alien book. We are just on the alien books right now. And that is going to be book number 2 in the incredible worlds of Wally McDougall, My Life as Alien Monster Bait. These are like a comedy kind of series from the 90s, which is not really done anymore. It's kind of interesting. Comedy books kind of moved to like Diary of a Wimpy Kid style, those kinds of things. And so this is like a middle grade comedy novel, and I'm excited to read this one and see what happens. And then speaking of sequels that I am ready to read, I am excited to read book number 2 in the Young Indiana Jones series. That is The Tomb of Terror. Young Indiana Jones and the Tomb of Terror. Now, there are 50 billion different Young Indiana Jones book series, okay? Tons of different ones. And this one is like original stories that were written in the world of Young Indiana Jones. So some of these later Young Indiana Jones books are pricey. One of them right now is going online for like $300. So it's a little bit wild. I've got quite a few of them. I don't have some of the super, super rare ones, but I'm always on the hunt. So this one is about Egypt, which if you know me, I love Egypt books. So I love books about Egypt and mummies and all that kind of stuff. So I am excited to read Young Indiana Jones and The Tomb of Terror. And then I just read book number 1 in this series, and I am super excited to read book number 2, which is The El Dorado Adventure. Book number 2 in the Vesper Holly series by Lloyd Alexander. So this came out in the 80s, and Lloyd Alexander wrote this kind of on the heels of Indiana Jones. It's very Indiana Jonesy, the first book. And so this one is book number 2, The El Dorado Adventure, and I'm super intrigued to read this one and find out what happens next to Vesper Holly. And then getting into some of the spooky vibes, because you gotta have some spooky vibes during Old School April. It is, after all, like the Scoobies is one of the teams. So I chose the Attack of the Aqua Apes. This is book number 3 in R.L. Stine's Ghosts of Fear Street series. I have read books 1 and 2 and then several of the other random ones later on, but I've decided to kind of start going through them in order because I read book 1, I read book 2 right after. I really enjoyed both of those. This one seems real random, not gonna lie, but we'll find out what happens in it. This series is based on Fear Street, but it's a middle grade Fear Street series. So all of the books take place in Shadyside, only there's always something supernatural in these books, which I do find interesting versus the YA books in Fear Street don't always have a supernatural element. These are all ghost written by other authors, not by R.L. Stine, but some of them have been really good. So I'm excited to read another one, even though this one seems really random, but we'll find out what happens. And then I chose a Shivers book to read. Shivers is a kind of like knockoff Goosebumps series from the 90s. And I chose A Ghastly Shade of Green. Since this is book number 2, by M.D. Spencer. Since this one, it's green plants and it's springtime. So I don't know anything else about this other than the cover. I've not read the back because I try not to read the backs of these books because I don't want to accidentally have any spoilers and guess anything. So I'm excited to read another Shivers, even though Shivers books are wildly uneven. There are some that have been super good. Like I really liked Terror on Troll Mountain. And then there's ones like The Curse of the New Kid, which is actually a very creepy book. And then you have ones like The Haunting House. I did not like that book. It was so dumb. I just thought it was dumb. So we'll see how The Ghastly Shade of Green is and whether I like it or not. And then since it is Easter month, and this is the closest to an Easter-ish book I could find for Goosebumps, I decided to read Egg Monsters from Mars. This book my wife actually got for me last year for Easter. So I'm excited to read this one because, they're no yolk. They're no yolk. Yolk. No one says yolk. They're no yolk. It's so dumb. I'm excited to read this and find out what happens. And then I chose another Goosebumps book. Since I'm on the Scoobies team, I thought, okay, I should get one with the dog. So you might be able to guess, I have not read this one yet, and I really wanted to read The Barking Ghost. This is book number 32. This is book number 32 in the series, The Barking Ghost. I have not read this one. I know some people hate this book. So I'm intrigued to read it and find out for myself because this is one of my brother's favorite Goosebumps. So I'm intrigued. I'm going to find out what happens since, this is dogs and all those sorts of things. I got to find out. And then I chose a graveyard school book that I had that fit April perfectly. And that is April Ghouls Day, book number 11 by Tom B. Stone. So this book is in the Graveyard School series, which is another Goosebumps ripoff kind of series, only there's recurring characters in this series, and it's all set in the same town, kind of like Ghosts of Fear Street in Shadyside. And there are all these kids at this graveyard school. I've read 2 of these books. I really liked the first one. The second one I did not love as much, even though it did have some creepy moments. I just did not love it as much. So I'm excited to read this one since it's on theme for the month of April Ghouls Day. And we'll find out what happens in this one. And then last but not least for books, I recently have been picking up quite a few Christopher Pike YA novels. And so I decided I want to read one of these and see what happens. So I was kind of looking through all the ones I had, and I decided, you know what? That one looks fun. So I grabbed Scavenger Hunt by Christopher Pike. So hopefully this is a good one. I've never read a Christopher Pike YA book. I've read several of the Spooksville books, but I'm excited to read one of these because they look like a lot of fun. This one sounded intriguing to me, so I thought, let's go for it. Let's find out what a Christopher Pike YA novel is like. I've heard they're a little more intense, so we'll find out. Maybe this is a good one. Hopefully it's not a bad one. Don't tell me in the comments. I don't want to know. And then since Old School April is a readathon watch-a-thon, activity-a-thon, I do have a couple of things I'm going to watch and then some activities I'm going to do as well that I wanted to tell you about. So first up, for watching, I'm going to be watching The Hardy Boys Season 3. This is an old school Hardy Boys series from the 70s and late and early 80s that starred Parker Stevenson and Shaun as Joe and Fred Hardy. And so these are like all mystery like episodes, and they're like an hour long kind of show, and they had quite a few episodes per season, but the third season was shorter. So I haven't watched any of the third season actually, so I'm going to watch some episodes from the third season, and I know I'm going to enjoy it. And then I actually am a huge video gamer. I love video games, especially retro old school video games. So I have 4 video games that I'm going to play this month because I was like, I got to find some good video games to play as well. First up, I'm going to play Super Nintendo's Bonkers. Bonkers is a TV show that was actually on Disney Afternoon back in the day, and it's kind of like a little based on the world of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And so Bonkers is a cop who works in Hollywood and solves crimes and things. So I'm excited to play Bonkers and see what happens in this game, because there's other versions of Bonkers games. There's a Sega one that is not so good. And then there's this Super Nintendo one, which I've heard is way better. And I haven't played it yet. It's a platformer. So I'm super excited to play this one and see if I can beat it. And then definitely speaking of old school, one of the first computer games I remember playing that was a graphics-based computer game was Myst. So I have Myst for Nintendo DS, and so I'm going to play this one. Myst is a point-and-click adventure game that you kind of like walk around this island and you explore all these different places. And so there's like all these different worlds that you can explore. You go to them through books. And it's a super fun game. If you've never played this, you can actually get it on Steam. It also is available for Mac and all different kinds of platforms that you can get this on. This one is a little more of an old school version of the game. There's some newer versions of it, but it does have a 6th different world you can go to that was not in the original game. But this is definitely super nostalgic to me. I played this game for hours and hours on end with my brother and my dad back in the day, and my Uncle Patrick. We would all be like sitting around the computer, like trying to solve the puzzles and like figuring it out, because it was like a puzzle game. Like there's so many different puzzles to solve, and they're tricky. It's not like straightforward like some of the point and click games on like iPhones today that you can play. They're not like that. This was like complicated puzzles. You had to like try and see what you could do to get it to figure it out. And there was back then, there was no internet to be going, well, there was internet, but you couldn't like go online and be like, what are all the clues, and figure it out as easily. This was back in the day when you just had to figure it out. So I am excited to play Myst. And then I gotta play a classic, and this one is one of my favorite classic games. This one actually belonged to my aunt. She had a Nintendo back in the day, and we had a Nintendo, and she had a couple of video games that we didn't have growing up. And so it was always so fun to go over to her apartment and play these different games. And one of them was Super Mario Bros. 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES. So I am super excited to play some Super Mario 2. I love this Mario game. It's one of my favorites from the old Nintendo Mario games, and I just absolutely love this game. It's my favorite Mario of the original trilogy. I know some people think it's like really different, really weird from other Marios, but I love it. So I can't wait to play some Super Mario Bros. 2. And then of course, if I'm going to be playing some old Nintendo, I am definitely going to be playing my favorite old Nintendo game, actually my favorite video game of all time. It is my absolute favorite. Some people hate this game. I love this game. It is Mick Kids or MC Kids, and yes, that is a McDonald's arch, because this is a McDonald's video game from the 1990s. This game is so fun. I love it so much. There's so much to explore. You have to like look around all the different levels, and it's not like a typical like start the level and get to the end kind of thing. It's actually like you start the level, but you're looking for cards that are hidden throughout the level that have the little McDonald's arch on them. So you're looking for these little cards that have the McDonald's M on them that are hidden throughout the levels. So you have to find these cards, and then you unlock new worlds by finding all the cards in the levels. So it's not just about like start the level, get to the end. There's like this puzzle aspect to it. There are secret worlds in this game. There's all the McDonald's characters from McDonald Land, which if you don't know, there is McDonald Land lore. I had a friendly discussion with a friend who was like, there's no McDonald's Land lore. What are you talking about? There's no McDonald's lore. And I was like, yes, there is. There's Ronald McDonald, and there's Grimace and Bertie and all these different characters. And so there's all these pieces to this. So I am super excited to play MC Kids, Mick Kids, and just have a lot of fun with this one because it is one of my favorite games. I've beaten it so many times, but it is just one of my favorite nostalgic go back to games. And every now and again, I do find a new secret that I'd never found before. So we're going to play some MC Kids for sure. So that is what I'm going to be up to during Old School April. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm on Team Scoobies. So if you haven't joined Old School April yet, you can still join. It's not too late. You can go down to the comments below to find the links to all the information. And you can start tracking your points, and you can upload your points, all the things. You can join Team Scooby, or there's other teams too. There's like the Beetlejuice Bunch, the Candyman Crew, and the Busters, I believe it's called. Or you could join the best team, the Scooby team. Ruh-roh! It's going to be a lot of fun. So come and join me and Scooby. We're going to hang out over here on the Scooby's team. I'm going to be trying to have more videos for you during Old School April. Maybe some reading vlogs. We'll find out. But I'm super excited. Here we go. Old School April. This is it. Until next time, everybody, keep reading. Bye. Ruh-roh, Raggy.